Okay. Okay, my name is Bill Thomas. I am the chairman of the Plan Commission, and if you are able, would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Samantha, roll call, please.
Bill Thomas.
Here.
Ken Carroll.
Here.
Cheryl Slabazeski. Here. Gordon Butler.
Here.
Jeff Peterson.
Here.
Marty Flynn. And John Stanton.
Okay, thank you. So, good reminder for all of us. Put the phone on silent. Okay, let me welcome Gordon Butler back to the Plan Commission for a second time. Thank you for joining us. Also want to introduce at the end is Mike Stiff, our city attorney. Next to him is Pat Ainsworth, the Economic and Community Development Director, and then Ron Mensker is our Economic and Community Development Consultant. And the person at the end is our Executive Director, Samantha Tilley, who hates me to call her that. Okay, first thing of order is I need a motion to approve the minutes from the Special Plan Commission meeting held on April 24th, 2025.
So move. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Carroll, second by Commissioner Peterson. Roll call, please.
Ken Carroll.
Here. Yes.
Jeff Peterson.
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski.
Yes.
Gordon Butler.
Yes.
And Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, we have 3 cases to go over tonight. The first case is a public hearing and consideration of case number V 25-1-6-1, a request of A&J Rehab Properties for the approval variations from various sections of the Crest Hill zoning ordinance and the City Code of Ordinances that would allow the existing 4-unit apartment building on 13,374-foot lot zoned R3 multifamily located at 1813 North Broadway Street in Crest Hill to be renovated and numerous existing non-conforming conditions to remain on this property post completion of the apartment building renovation. Samantha, is all the paperwork in order?
Yes, all necessary paperwork is in order.
All right, thank you. Having said that, I would like to have a motion to open the public hearing for case V 25-1-6-1.
I'll make that motion.
Motion
Second.
by Commissioner Peterson, second by Commissioner Slabozowski. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson.
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski.
Yes.
Ken Carroll.
Yes.
Gordon Butler.
Yes.
And Bill Thomas.
Yes,
Motion
public
carried.
hearing is opened at 7:03. Again, the subject of this hearing is to discuss case V 25-1-6-1. I would like to ask our Community and Economic Development Consultant, Ron Menster, to present the specifics of the case. Ron?
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Plan Commission, and all the folks out in the audience that came to tonight's meeting. I have been the city representative that's been assigned to this particular project to review it and coordinate the processing of the project with the applicant. And I want to provide a summary of the background on this particular property. It's got some history, as you might guess. I'm going to give you a brief summary of the situation that the applicant has found himself in, applicable zoning requirements, the applicant's approach and proposal to comply with the city's zoning requirements, the specific standards that the city uses to evaluate zoning variation requests against, and then finally what the staff's recommendation on this particular case is. So the property was originally developed and improved back in 1920s, according to the county's records. So it's been around for a really long time, way before the city of Crest Hill was a city or incorporated. Over time, conditions on the property evolved, from what I can tell looking into the historical records, ultimately leading to kind of what it is currently, a 4-unit, small unit apartment building on the property. The property is 1/3 of an acre in size. It's zoned R3 multifamily in the city of Crest Hill. It's the only property along the west side of Broadway between Theodore on the south and Cheney on the north that has that zoning. Everything else is either commercial or single family, so it's kind of a unique zoning for that area. The reality of it is because it was developed so long ago and so many changes have been made to it over the years that there are a ton of conditions on this property that don't conform with the city's current regulations. So if it was to be built new today, it would look entirely different than what's out there today. Kind of the quandary that the applicant finds himself in is that he bought the property last fall with the intention of completely remodeling and rehabilitating the property, something that he's specializes in, has done successfully on other properties, both in Crest Hill and in some surrounding municipalities. When he bought it, it was posted by the city not approved for occupancy because the conditions of the property were just so deplorable. The applicant did come in and get permits to renovate the property, and again, it was a very extensive renovation plan for the project, or for the property. Once he started doing the renovation, implementing it earlier this year, he realized that the condition of the center part of the building was just, terrible. It didn't make sense to try to salvage that portion of the building and rebuild it. So he took it upon himself to demolish that section of the building because he wanted to rebuild it correctly, something that would be more structurally stable and conducive to quality end product. Unfortunately, because of the way the city's zoning ordinance is structured, once he bought and then demolished that section of the building, he would not be allowed to rebuild that section of the building unless he brought the property into conformance with all the applicable zoning and city requirements that now exist that would apply to these types of properties. So what the applicant is proposing, and why we're here tonight, is he's proposing to bring it into compliance 2 different ways. One way, make a bunch of physical modifications on the property to change certain things that are practical and he can change and improve to bring them into compliance with the city's regulations. There are other conditions on the property, and there's a lot of them, that it doesn't make sense, either practically or economically, to try to bring them into compliance with the city's current regulations, because in a lot of cases it would involve the property having to be kind of scraped clean and starting over, and that's certainly not why he bought it. Economically, that doesn't make sense. So he is asking for a bunch of variances to those particular sections of the city zoning ordinance that it doesn't make sense to try to make the property or bring it into conformance physically. Let me just highlight some of the things that he is proposing to do to bring it into compliance. I think are noteworthy and significant and will result in some very positive improvements in the property. The city's lot coverage requirements limit the amount of impervious surface, whether that's buildings or pavement or other things like that on the property, to 50%. Right now, there's more than 50% impervious areas on this property. He's going to, through all the work he's doing and modifications he's making to the property, he's going to reduce the impervious area to under 50%. Specifically, we're estimating end up to be about 47%. Right now, there is a gravel driveway and parking spaces on the property. That's not something that's allowed by the current regulations, and he has agreed and is proposing to pave the driveway and the associated parking spaces to meet the city's paving standards. He's going to be cleaning up the landscape on the property and planting enough new plant material to comply with the city's landscape planting requirements for these types of properties. He's going to be constructing and then enclosing the refuse containers on the property. And he will be providing illumination, downward focus illumination for the parking spaces that will be on the property. There are, again, a whole list of conditions on the property that it doesn't make sense for him to bring into compliance, because it would require the removal of the existing building and rebuilding it in another location, and he wouldn't be able to have a 4-unit building. He'd only be able to have a 3-unit building. So those variances are outlined in Exhibit C of the staff report. I'd be happy to summarize those or just address questions about those, but they're fairly extensive. They involve maintaining the existing setbacks on the property that don't necessarily comply in all situations with the city's current regulations, maintaining the existing small unit sizes on the property that don't comply with the city's regulations, not requiring that he put masonry elements on the exterior facade of the building. He is proposing to completely reside the exterior areas of the building with a quality siding material and trim and other accent details. He's requesting a variance from the city's parking requirements for multifamily units, which in my professional opinion are extremely excessive to begin with. He's also requesting that the driveway be allowed to remain at its narrowest points at 12 feet rather than the minimum 14 foot that's required by the current codes. That's kind of a summary of the high points. In the zoning ordinance, as I mentioned in my initial comments, is that there's a set of criteria that the city is required to review these types of applications against and use those criteria to justify whether or not to approve or deny the applicant's requests. There's 3 main criteria. Can the property yield a reasonable return if it's only permitted to be allowed to be used in accordance with the city's current regulations? From a staff perspective, it's our opinion that it could not yield a reasonable return if the city required them to comply with all current zoning regulations. Number 2 is the plight of the owner due to unique circumstances, given the age and the way this property has evolved, the fact that it's the only multifamily property along that section of Broadway, and all the improvements were built way before the city of Crest Hill zoning regulations were in place. We do feel that those are unique circumstances that should be considered. And then finally, the approval of the variations, if granted, would not alter the essential character of the locality. For the most part, this building and the improvements on this property have already kind of established long ago their impacts on the character of this area. Over time, the impacts have turned somewhat negative because prior owners weren't maintaining the property properly. I think the owner's commitments and the conditions that would be attached to any approval of the variances would ensure that the conditions on the property would be dramatically improved, and ultimately the ending resulting condition of the property would probably have a positive impact on the character of the area, especially when compared to what's out there today. So with that, city staff and myself have found that these criteria justify the approval of the variances that are being requested, and we're recommending that they be approved subject to 8 conditions which spell out in detail all the improvements that the applicant has committed to make to the property. So the variances would be granted, but he would still have to do a whole slew of improvements to the property to bring it up to standards in those cases where they can be brought up to standards. So with that, I'd address any questions that the Plan Commission may have.
I think we'll hold off for now. Is there someone here from, would you like to approach the podium?
Sure.
And I think there's a place for you to sign your name in there. And then state your name, and then I will swear you in.
My name is Brian Gould. I'm with BR Design and Architecture. and I-
Okay, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Brian?
First off, thank you for your time, and Mr. Menser, excellent job on just getting everyone involved here and understanding what's going on this property. It's a unique one, you know, he had a building permit already set up through Crest Hill for the remodel of this four-unit apartment complex. My client, Mr. Cruz, you know, not only purchased this property, but he also has a business here that's only 2 doors down from this property. So, you know, it is a good thing to know that he's not from out of the state. He's not, you know, a bad landlord. He's here. He has a business here. He's done remodeling projects here, which you know, the building department is aware of, and what type of work he does produce, right, in Crest Hill and other surrounding areas. But it's an interesting one because, you know, usually when we're doing variances, right, there's something that occurs where someone stepped over that boundary and tried to create a larger structure, did something on the job site that was you know, kind of out of the norm or out of what they had going on. This one was really just a case of he's taking it by the horns and saying, okay, I'm gonna take this down, it's no good, I'm gonna get rid of it, and I'm gonna rebuild it the right way. And when he called me and told me that, I said, uh-oh. But you know, he definitely is trying to do the right thing. He still has, like I said, right now, a building permit out on that property, which I was actually brought into this a little bit later on, so he had applied for that building permit, tried to do everything himself, was on the right path, and then got me involved once he started getting into this a little bit too deep here. So like Mr. Menser was saying, which was done very well, property's an old property, you know, it's just on a unique lot. It has had some improvements, but the biggest thing to be known is the person who had it before let it go for many, many, many years. Nothing had been done in there, and it had a laundry list of things that needed to basically get done. And when he purchased it, those items were not done, which they should have actually been done before the sale of that purchase, or before the sale of that property, and it never was done. So he's kind of inherited all this stuff, and he was on that path to make things right. He's on that path to make everything a lot better than what it is now, and he just kind of went one step too far. So here we are. But all I can say is that you know, I've worked with him for the past 7-8 years now, and everything we've done has been great. And this one is just you know, we're hoping for your blessing to kind of move forward and get this thing wrapped up and closed up here sooner than later. So I did, you should have in front of you, as Mr. Menser was saying, a couple exhibits. Exhibit F, if you go to that kind of summarizes in a site plan perspective what we're doing. We're basically, you know, taking away a lot of this concrete that was there. There was this big swatch of concrete in front of all the units that stretched, you know, a good 16 feet or so across the whole thing. It really not really good curb appeal there. So, you know, our hope is we're gonna take that out and we're gonna kind of just create more sidewalks up to those front doors, and then the rest would be a green space, you know, to kind of make it more of a curb appeal and landscape area in front of each unit. As it was stated as well, it was a gravel drive. We are going to pave that. It should be mentioned too that, you know, with everything going through this process and having to go through the variance, it obviously triggered a lot of things that had to be done above and beyond what he would have had to have done if it was just the remodel. We did not take that section down. So if you didn't take that section down, we wouldn't be here, of course, right? And he would still have a gravel drive. You would still have a lot of things there that he wouldn't had to have done. So he's going above and beyond now to kind of make sure that we follow the right path for this variance process. And so with that said, the drive will be paved. I do show, I want to just, you know, bring this up briefly here. We do show 2 garbage corrals. It's a little bit unique, as you can imagine. You know, these are just 4 small apartment units. I'm not sure if we're going to have both or need both. We're going to have to figure that out. You know, it's more as more of a small residence base. I know we're going to have, instead of dumpsters, we'll probably have more of the standard trash and standard recycling bins. So we're going to determine that whether or not we're going to need 1 or 2. But we do show 2 just in case, and those would be fully landscaped as well. Which, you know, we do provide a landscape plan also that just gives you an idea of what we're going to provide for some additional landscaping in this area, and also saving some of the larger mature trees up towards Broadway Street. Obviously, those are in good health. We don't want to let those go, and then it also creates some nice screening for those residents, so they're not, you know, looking straight on Broadway Street there. Other than that, though, you know, from a site standpoint, everything does pretty much remain the same. We're not changing this building in regards to the size. Everything stays exactly how it was. The new section that we're rebuilding will be on the existing slab that's there already. And we're not creating any additional, you know, square footage to this existing structure. The elevations, which we did kind of speak about a little bit in regards to what we're doing, you know, right now, if you can imagine, I don't know if you've gone by or you know this property, but it was really a house, right? It was a house, and it had a garage, and it had a breezeway, and that all kind of, you know, over the many years turned into units. And since then, you know, nothing's been done in regards to the siding or the trim or the windows. And so now's the opportunity, and what he's looking to do as his improvement is to take this place from what it was and you know, make it nicer and have the, you know, rent higher, obviously, so that he can create a profit on this. So we're going to be, you know, following a lot of the requirements that you have in your zoning ordinances for trim, material selections, the roof, you know, shingles will actually are in good shape. Those will remain. The roof was re-roofed not too long ago. That will remain. But everything is going to get buttoned up from the inside out. And, you know, I think when it's all done, obviously it'll look dramatically different than what it was before. So hopefully, you know, like stated, our goal here is to basically just allow us to keep moving forward. As his architect, obviously I'm going to be submitting additional plans into the building department for that section that was completely removed, so that it'll further, you know, let everyone know what we're doing there and how we're bringing that up to code and what the structure will be, and such. But for right now, the hope is just to get moving forward. So if there's any questions from anyone, I'd be happy to answer them.
Let's go back to the garbage stations. Was it
Sure.
your idea to originally have 2, or was it ours?
No, it's really just me trying to figure out,
Okay.
you know, if there's four apartments and, you know, is it gonna be a dumpster, a small dumpster, but then where's the recyclables go? So, you know,
Yeah.
rather than making one giant one, I thought maybe you'd have one on each side, that way 2 of the residents can go to the one and the 2 can go to the other. situated wise on the property, you know, it would be easy for the garbage truck to just kind of come in and grab them, all the cans at once. So, so again, that it could very well be one, but doing this long enough, I know to ask for more the first time around.
As long as it's sized properly, we don't care if it's one or two, do we? Ron? No, I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with 4 small units, it kind of be a little overkill.
Yeah, depending on the size, right? So
Yeah.
we're trying to fit, you know, it might be 8 trash cans in there. And I know each one's about, you know, 30 by 30, so, you know, we want to get them in there and not have them where they're all, that's the other problem. If we try to squish them into one, you know, people will just start throwing into other people's garbage cans, and then we're gonna get civil war, so.
Yeah, yeah. Jeff, any questions?
Oh, good job. I have one question, and it's just, maybe I missed it, but I see you were proposed to reduce the coverage from 51% to 47%. And how do you propose to do that?
So, right now on the site, if you can imagine, there's the big gravel drive that comes through here.
Okay.
And then, it's kind of hard to see on the proposed site plan, but on the survey, it shows pretty clear. If you can imagine, almost the whole width of this building, 16 feet out, it's just all concrete. It's just a big concrete, I don't know what, patio, you know? So what we're doing is we're taking that out,
Okay.
and we're gonna just have sidewalks up to each door. So that's how
I
we're
kind of
able
thought
to.
that was the way you were gonna do it, but
Yeah.
just to satisfy my own curiosity.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
and then that way we get some plantings up against the house, you know, and it's not just some concrete right up to
Okay,
to there, yeah,
thank you.
no problem.
Gordon, any questions?
No, good.
Cheryl? Is there anybody in the audience that's here for this particular case that would want to come to the podium? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Since there are no further questions or comments, I'd like to ask for a motion to close this public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson, second by Commissioner Slabazeski. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Public hearing is closed at 7:27. Okay, anybody have a problem with, after listening to Ron and listening to the architect about granting any of these variations? So, you know, this is really an interesting situation. I read through Mr. Cruz's letter. I know when you heard that he tore that down, I think he also had the same realization like, oops, I should not have done that. But this is a pretty unique situation. It's probably one of the most uniques in the city of Crest Hill. A building, a house that's, from 1920s, built way before the city of Crest Hill became the city in 1960. And, you know, on the one hand, we could say, well, too bad you made a mistake. You got to tear it all down and start over. But you probably would decide not to start over because of the expense, and that's not a good thing for that neighborhood. It's not a good thing for Crest Hill. Certainly, I've driven by there a couple times. I agree with Mr. Mensker that when you're done, this is going to really enhance that neighborhood. And it's going to be a shining star, actually, I think, in that neighborhood. So I think it certainly warrants both sides kind of giving in a little bit to let you do what you want to do. Now, we mentioned these 8 conditions. You have seen the actual 8 conditions and agreed to do those 8 conditions? And the only one we might let you modify is going from 2 to 1 garbage areas. Otherwise, as long as you're agreeable to the 8 conditions, I will ask for a motion to grant your request, as long as you're in compliance with those 8 conditions. So, to that point, I would like to have a motion to approve the request from A&J Rehab Properties for the approval variations from various sections of the Crest Hill zoning ordinance and the city code of ordinances that would allow the existing 4-unit apartment building on the 13,374 square foot R3 multifamily district zoned property at 1813 North Broadway Street in Crest Hill, Illinois, to be renovated and the numerous existing non-conforming conditions to remain on this property post-completion of the apartment building, again, subject to the applicant's compliance with the 8 conditions mentioned before. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gordon, or Commissioner Butler, I'm sorry, second by Commissioner Peterson. Roll call, please.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion passed. So, the Planning Commission, in line with the staff recommendations, has approved the requests from A&J Rehab Properties for the approval variations from the various sections of the zoning ordinance and the city code of ordinances, subject to the 8 conditions. So we will forward our recommendation to the city council, keeping in mind that the Plan Commission can only recommend. The city council has the job of actually approving it. And right now, we believe that they will hear your case at the workshop scheduled for June 23rd, 2025. So I strongly suggest that you repeat your very nice speech at that time, and congratulations, and we look forward to having that completed and looking as nice as we know it will. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't think there's anybody here for the second, well, there might be, huh? All right, the second case is the public hearing and consideration of case, let's go to the second one properly. Where did we go there? How did I skip over that? 4, 5, I'm sorry, okay. The second case is the public hearing and consideration of case number SU 25-3-6-1, a request from Redemption Hour Ministry, who is seeking approval of a special use permit and variations to reactivate the existing subject building for a church in the R1 Single Family Residence District zoned property located at the northeast corner of Dearborn Street and Ludwig Avenue with a specific address of 1800 Dearborn Street in Crest Hill. The variations being requested are related to bringing the existing conditions of the property in compliance in relation to the Crest Hill zoning ordinance, keeping in mind that no major exterior modifications are being requested with this application. Samantha, is all the paperwork in order?
All necessary paperwork is in
All
order.
right, then again, I would like to have a motion to open a public hearing for case SU-25-3-6-1.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Carroll. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So again, the subject of this hearing is to discuss case SU 25-3-6-1, and I would like to ask our Community and Economic Director, Pant Ainsworth, to present this case.
Thank you. In the meantime, Elena, you may want to double-click on your PowerPoint while I do a quick summary. Also have a quick statement to read. So please be advised that tonight's Plan Commission meeting is for the 1800 Dearborn Street for a new church organization called Redemption Hour Ministry. The notice of the public hearing signage posted near the main entrance of the building was updated on June 3rd, 2025 with the applicant's name and the date and time of the meeting. On June 4th, the city also posted a Facebook notice of the meeting, which contained the applicant's name as well as the date of the time of the meeting. The notices sent to the property owners within 300 feet of the subject property were also sent certified mail by the applicant and contained the organization's name and today's date. So, thank you. Just wanted to make a quick statement on that one.
I
So
have all
again,
the certified mail receipts.
yes, thank you. So with that, I am, again, Pat Ainsworth, Community and Economic Development Director, assigned to this case. Before you guys get started, I'm just gonna do a quick summary. So the subject property, which was built in 1953, encompasses about a 9,400 square foot property on a 45,900 square foot lot. It is surrounded by single family. This property actually had a school to the north, but that school was torn down. I'm not sure exactly when, and then there was subject single family that was built afterwards. This property is currently owned by the Catholic Archdiocese of Joliet. They had ceased operations in 2024. Subject to sections 5.5, just like Ron's case before the new applicant would hypothetically reoccupy this space and reactivate it for a church use, they have to go through the retroactive special use process and variations to protect the existing property as is. The applicant will go over quite a few things about their background, their activities, and also about the timing and of everything taking place inside, so I will defer to them on that one. But in the staff report, there's a a zoning code analysis that shows what's in compliance and what was not in compliance. Items from 1953 obviously do not match 2025 zoning ordinance, so there were 5 requests for the variations for their existing property. They are not modifying anything. There is one thing that we're requesting similar to the previous case, which is to add a trash enclosure. The 5 requests are the lot coverage, which for the R1 zoning district is 50% max. The current is 58%, but with the small smidgen of impervious for a trash enclosure, we would grant a 59% lot coverage. There's a parking deficit of 5 spaces, but there is a traffic improvement analysis that was done by KLOA, a respected traffic engineering study that was attached to the staff report, showing that 40 spaces will probably be what is requested from the applicant and utilized. They did show best practices and showed in their staff report that it will meet modern standards and it will be adequate for the 50 spaces provided. The other 3 variations were a 0-foot lot setback where 10 feet is required. Again, existing parking lot that was put up to the property line. There are no parking lot landscape islands. If parking lot landscape islands were installed, that would actually reduce their parking count and increase the extent of their parking variation, which would not be the benefit to the organization and their off-street parking needs. And then there is a parking stall width of 26 feet, but the existing, again, this parking lot, they're not doing anything, although there is a requirement to repave it within 1 year, is 17 feet 4 inches to again maintain that existing one. This is again a unique circumstance. This building was built before the city was incorporated. This property was built in 1953. City was incorporated in 1960. Pardon me. But just to clarify how parking is calculated, it's very important to note that it's per the zoning ordinance section 11.8-5 that the main worship area has. We look at the seating. The seating in this case has pews inside. And then 11.3-3 of the zoning ordinance has how we measure the parking requirements. So for every 20 inches of bench width is 1 seat, and for every 4 seats requires 1 parking space. The applicant will actually show in their floor plans that they're reducing the amount of seating inside. They're removing 4 pews. So there were 32, now there are 28 pews. So with 13 feet in width, there was a parking requirement of 55 spaces. Again, 50 spaces are provided, but with the traffic impact statement that was provided and attached to the staff report, the KLOA traffic engineers found that this would be adequate. So with the analysis of this, similar again to Ron's case, there are similarities in this regards of there's standards used for the variation. This was a church for over 7 decades. The church and the applicant tonight will talk about their church organization and how they'll reactivate this space for indoor use only. And they'll talk about their congregation size and how they stagger all their items to help ensure that traffic is adequate and dispersed fairly. In terms of the variations, these variations are for the existing conditions of the property. Staff has worked with the applicant to come up with 6 conditions in the staff report. The 6 conditions were to comply with the drawings that were supplied, which was to remove those 4 pews and add the trash enclosure. We added some additional items such as providing arrows to ensure where cars can go in and out adequately and safely. Prior to hypothetically occupying this space again, 4 pews be removed, trash enclosure improved before December 31st, 2025. We did request that the parking lot be completely repaved by June 12th, 2026 or sooner. A parking permit must be obtained, building permit for the parking lot must be obtained. And then number 6 is our standard one that any transfer of ownership in the future, these conditions shall transfer with that property owner. But as mentioned in the staff report, the applicant is looking to purchase this property and be the owner of record. So I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, I know the applicant is here to provide a PowerPoint presentation as well.
Okay, have you signed your name in there
Yes,
on the paper? And why don't you introduce yourself, and then I will swear you in.
Yes, my name is Alina Jatkas. I'm an attorney for the petitioner.
Okay?
my name is Henry Amagacha. I'm the Reverend Minister for the Redemption
Alright.
Ministry.
All right, you raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Now, that was kind of awkward. You should be swearing me in. Go ahead.
I have a seat.
Okay, yeah.
And
Thank
you
you
have
very
a
much.
very thick accent, so please speak loud and slowly. I
Okay.
might interrupt you if I don't hear, if you want me to make a clean record.
That's understood. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you for this opportunity. Redemption Hour Ministry has been in existence for about 18 years. We started from the, Romeoville Rec Center. We used to rent a small room, smaller than this, about half the size of this room. And then we moved to 1312 Market Drive, where, sorry, this, okay. 1312 Market Drive, where from there, we are now aiming to purchase this property. We've been in the current location for the past 12 years, renting, and not in one case have we ever missed payment. The goodness of seeing the Catholic Church put up 1800 Dearborn Street was, like, for us, as church folks will say, a blessing. Oh, just go like that. Just scroll down. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, okay. The next one. If you want it bigger, you can. No, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, so we do have a vision and we do have a mandate that we've been working with. It hasn't changed. It's to meet the needs of people in society. And so now that we have the opportunity to see this property, for 1800 Dearborn Street, we did come in and said, we would like to buy this beautiful Catholic church. We are a non-denominational church. It started from the heart, my heart, I'll say. People that I've worked with, they've been here for the number of years that we've been together. And it's been a journey for us. That's why we call it the journey of faith. The beautiful thing is that as a church, like in any other community, we work with babies all the way to death. So people give birth, we bury people also. It's all the way through. What we saw with 1800 Dearborn Street was that it was going to be able to meet our needs for now and for tomorrow. And so we approached the buyers, which was the Catholic Diocese, to be able to use the property. And these were the various steps that were asked to come to in terms of coming to Crest, going through the special variations. The The issue we have at hand is that nothing will be changed on the exterior of the property. It's a very beautiful brick building. We keep it as such. It has beautiful stained windows telling the story of the apostles. We will keep that as such. There's nothing that we're doing to the exterior. Pretty much maybe making sure that the grass, the trees, the shrubs are taken care of. That is our responsibility. We'll make sure the place looks as beautiful as possible. With some of the congregants that I have here, most of them, we came in to this country. I've been in this country for 25 years and more. Others have been in here a little bit more. We came in renting, and then we own our property. And we've owned our properties, and we are still maintaining. I live in Romeoville with my wife. She's sitting somewhere here. And we've been in Romeoville for 23 years. Our kids are schooled in Richland Grade School, Lockport High, and have finished college. That's from on my side. So it's a beautiful community that we still want to be welcomed into, and we still want to work together with you. Like we said, there'll be no changes or additions to the existing building. There'll be no changes to the existing landscape. It's beautifully put in place. It's like putting your hand into the glove or shoe in. Just walk in, start church services tomorrow. We are a church. We don't have any other thing to do but to just serve the Lord. And like any other church, we want to be a benefit to the society, not only spiritually, but also physically. This facility comes with a unique thing. It comes with a multi-purpose hall that also will be used for our various facilities, things that we intend to grow into. We have told the city in our statement to the community development director that on no grounds will there be alcohol used on the property. This is a church. We have never used alcohol in our rental property for 12 years. We are not going to be able to do that. It's not something we intend to do. But this has a multi-purpose hall where we can have like basic eating, have fun in that place. The main church seats it seats 256 people. The community development director said something. He said, we're removing 4 pews out of it, so we're going to lose 32 sitting spots. And the reason is very simple. We want more access to the front stage. It's so narrow when we went in there, we think that it should be set back a little bit more. So we're going to lose that 4 pews. We are a congregation of 70 people. We intend to grow, but the process of growth will be more based upon various areas within the Chicagoland. We do have a principle that we run with, groups of 10, where the church can have meetings of 10 people, either in their homes, either in Starbucks. We want to be part of that community, and that's how we've lived for time being. And so this is the upper level that is shown on the screen here. Again, no changes, just the removal of the 4 pews. So pretty much that's more of furniture than physical changes to the property. So the total seating will now be 224, which we are way below that for now. We have services time generally on Sundays, 10 a.m. to 12:30. We don't run way beyond that. We have Tuesday evening services. That's a small group we're trying to bring up. Maximum 20 people. Friday evening services, we meet to pray. And then there'll be rehearsals. We do have a choir. They sing beautifully, but we want to make sure that at least they must be able to rehearse the songs so they don't mumble and jumble along as we sing on Sundays. And then we do have counseling. Counseling is on from Tuesdays. Whether it's anything that the community needs, you think that you want to walk in and see the pastor, that's fine. My background is architecture. I'm a licensed architect, foreign trained licensed architect. I work with an architectural firm right now, 200 South Michigan Avenue. I'm a project manager. We work full time. The basis of our church is that everybody works full time. So our ministers are engineers, pharmacists, they work full time. What we do is that we want to take a burden of the church taking care of us, but we work for the secular world, which is corporate America, and then we serve the community. So it's been a selfless community work all throughout. Nobody takes any remuneration. It's just by grace that we've had the opportunity to come up to this place where we can now afford to be able to own our own after so many years. You can hear from my voice that it's so passionate to me because we started in my living room and now we have the opportunity to own a property. That's a big jump for us over these many years. Some of the things that we do, on-site ancillary programs, we do the social awareness, we educate our people, and it's open. One of the beautiful things I saw, I told Mr. Pat, was that when we walked into the property and we saw it, we saw that the people vote in that place. And we said, it's a pro bono. Keep the voting hall. I vote. Members of our congregation vote. Let's keep it. And they said, well, it's not ours. We need to see Will County. We will go to Will County and tell them, keep the voting hall. We want to be part of the community. We do marriage and dating programs. We have something we call the Love Clinic. We meet people. There's so much with the youth, social things. I've been married 31 years. I'm enjoying it. And I keep on telling people marriage is good. I mean, that's a personal prerogative, but I believe that it's still good. We have financial training. These are small groups of meetings that we do, and then we do one-on-one things. This is the big one that I want you to think about when we come into the community. There are so many young people who don't have GED. We have trained people in our group that do it for free. We've done it so many times. When we're at Rec Center, Removal Rec Center, they will train you, they'll put you on your computer, they'll make you pass your exams. I volunteered my time, 2010 when the economy crashed. I had no work, but I went to July Job Corps and made sure I made students pass their exams so they could go to, have the associate degree, because they couldn't pass exams. They couldn't pass the math. And I have that background. So we've always poured out. Same thing that you have, loving your neighbors. This is the city of neighbors. And we love our neighbors. We want to be part of that. We do have off-site ancillary programs. That is what we do at the Delwood Park. We meet once a year. We want to be out of the building, the confined space. So we go to Delwood Park and let the congregation just have free barbecue, eat, dance, do whatever you want to do off-site. We do have, and then we make sure that because it's August, it's the first week of August, we share out school books. I'm very much geared towards that. I've been blessed. I've schooled, I had a master's degree in architecture, came here to DePaul, got another master's degree. I'm blessed with education. Congregants are so blessed with education. We want to do that for the community, and that's what we've been doing. So we make sure that back to school program on our picnic at Delwood Park every year. Every August, we go out to do that outdoor program. We do a homeless drive every quarterly. This is because that's what the church does. The church meets the needs of people. You go out to the street. I told some of the congregation members, I went to Gillette Library to read, and a man walked to me and asked me for a toothbrush. And I started to cry. I come from Africa. Most of the congregants come from other parts of the world, not only Africa. And for you to think America is heaven and come in here and a man asks for a toothbrush and a toothpaste. So that's what we do every quarterly. We get hygiene products for the women, hygiene products for the men, and we go out into the streets and just share those things free of charge. We give it to them. That's how we build our community. We do have an online team and many other things that the church does. I could go on and on and on, but I don't want to bore you. I just want to tell you that we will love to own that property on 1800 Dearborn Street so that we can still impact not only Crest, but even beyond. And so that's why I'm here this evening. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Anybody, any of the commissioners have a question to the pastor?
I do. Will you be holding fundraising?
Like any other church, what we do is we have online giving. We use the Venmo, Cash App, any of the online giving things. So that's what we use for our tithes and offering on Sundays. Once in a while when we have fundraising programs, we could use, GoFundMe, but it's something that is rare that's done. We don't have we've never done fundraising to sit or bring people together because I have a simple principle. If you believe that God has blessed you and you don't want to give, then I don't think you understand what it means to be blessed. I'm sorry, I don't have to quote a scripture, but if you would allow me, I could quote a scripture. It says one thing, it said, he gives us work so that we will have to give. When I got to know of that, it changed my perspective. It changed my perspective. I have, so I can do what? I can give. And that's what we train our people. So they give freely. We do all the online giving. Yeah, they give freely.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Pastor. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come to the podium? Christine? Please sign in. State your name, raise your right hand.
Christine Richey.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
Sorry about my voice, so I'm going to do the best I can. I am a resident right across the street from it, born and raised. I am all for church. Like I said, I was born and raised, went to church there. Buried both my parents from there and everything like that. Where several of us here are from the neighborhood. But I do have several questions for you. Per your GoFundMe account, you put on there the mandate of the ministry is to set the captives free. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, I can.
Can you tell us? That microphone works for you. Just go ahead and talk.
If you read or if you go online, it's spiritual, physical, mentally, financially, setting captives free. So I want to bring your mind to something like, and I'll just use a minute to answer. It's like a hospital. Some do cancer treatment, some work for children. Each and every hospital has a very unique mission. That's the mandate we have. Our mission is to set captives free, mentally, physically, emotionally, and any other way. So that's what we do. We reach out to people, and you heard from my report how we bring people who don't have GED, equip them. I remember one time, short story, most of our members were now beginning to yearn to take welfare and all that kind of, it's not bad if you don't have work. But we have to train them that it's better to work and earn money. That is liberating a person. And that's what we mean by setting captives free.
And you're going to do that on site?
No, it's dealing with your congregation.
Oh, okay. Okay. It also says RHM is involved in monthly homeless drives and street evangelism. What do you mean by street evangelism? Are you going through the neighborhood?
In Romeoville, what we do is we have designated areas that we've gone to. We've gone to, we teach everyone that you can tell them about Crest. Now, much as you have your will, you have your ability to say, I don't want any literature, which we have tried to, is the same way. What fascinates me is, if I go to St. Joseph Hospital, you find a cross, you find literature, you find everything about God when we are on our hospital bed. And it blows my mind. Do we have to disturb people? No. People have their will. We don't do that. We reach out to people. We have a social media website. We have Facebook, YouTube. We have Instagram. We have our webpage. We have a QR code. When I meet you and we start to talk and you are interested in coming to church, I give you my phone and I tell you, go onto our QR code. Everything you need, just like you're reading right now, you download it from our website page. So we don't go door knocking. We are not Jehovah's Witness. We would love to, but from experience, we've realized that people love their privacy, and many times they tell you no literature. So everything is online.
Okay. Per your application with the city, when I pulled it up, and you talked about this counseling. Can you go more in detail what you mean by counseling?
Okay. I had a case where this is a young couple, I married them, and that was my first time seeing a divorce certificate. And so they brought it before me and said, We breaking up. They were 3 years in marriage. So I sat down with them. Out of curiosity, I've never seen a divorce certificate for. So I said, bring it, let's pray about it. So they brought it, we prayed, and I said, can we talk? That's counseling. So we talked to them, and as a minister that I've been trained, I've done this from 1995 as a minister. And I talked to them. To the glory of God, today they are still married. There are people who have had other issues. So when we talk of counseling, people who have problems, and that's what we are, that's what the church is. When people have problems, they come to us for free. We meet them at their needs free. We don't charge for counseling. We take time. The beauty and the joy is seeing the marriage working. The beauty and the joy is the guy did not commit suicide. The beauty and the joy is the guy did not give up on hope. I tell my congregation, the only time I can't work with anybody is when the person is dead. That's the only time.
Okay. No other kind of counseling, just marriage, or you're gonna just do anything?
It depends on what the person wants. Let's say you show up a young man. I'm giving illustrations, okay? And you want to buy, I tell my son, okay, I'll use my son as an example because he's in the crowd. He says, Dad, I need 2 cars. I said, that's not right. You're going to pay insurance on the car. You're going to have to find parking for the car. You're a student and a worker. It doesn't make sense. Why don't you buy a car that will work for you whilst you school and work? That's counseling. So don't waste money, because young people waste money. I tell young men, get married. If you don't get married, you will waste money, because you always think you have more money. So these are little counsels which help them society. And I'm privileged to see young men and women get married. You know, I'll give you one counsel. Every young woman wants somebody who's 6 foot tall. I'm not 6 foot tall. I'm 5'11", but I got somebody to marry me for 31 years. That's counseling, yeah.
Okay, so it's any kind of counseling?
Any kind of counseling,
Any
from
kind.
finance to anything. And that's what we mean by liberating, setting the captives free. You know, it liberates people. People give up on life so easily. People have challenges. Just this weekend, we buried one of our church members. The husband is in tears. I have made a decision to call him every morning. He's a resident of Crest. He's on Battalion Avenue or something like that. Battalion, just right after your old offices.
Oh, Neff Drive, Neff.
Just behind the store, the Hispanic store. I call him every morning. I'm at work, but once I finish some meetings and I have a room, it's just 5 minutes call. Rich, how are you doing today? Because he's sitting down and he's crying. He's lost his wife. But that's counseling. You reach out to him, console him, and tell him life will be well. You know, and when he heals, then we will introduce a new woman to him. But for now, he's got to heal.
And also in your application, you have that you'll be like doing baby showers, the wedding receptions. Is that gonna be open to everybody or just your parishioners?
No, the church is open to anybody.
So you'll be holding like banquets? If somebody comes in there and wants to do something and have it catered in?
The church has a board, and the board will decide what can be done and cannot be done. Right off the bat, no alcohol on the premises. The other thing we have is no multiple programs on the premises. And so we have to look at the kind of, what do you want to do? And how do you want to coordinate it? We do have set times that we don't want to go beyond, and that's in our narrative. We don't want to go beyond 10 o'clock. I don't want to hear people going in and out when I want to sleep. I really don't want to do that. Like I said, I live on Renwick and Weber. I've lived there 23 years. I don't want that disturbance, you know, and that is the part of the neighborhood thing. Loving your neighbor as yourself. You got to think of how well am I imparting. My first walk on Dearborn and Ludwig was, this is a beautiful community. I'm looking at it from my architectural perspective. The wooden house at the corner, the swimming pool, the block. It's a beautiful place. Our goal is not to break it down. I tell people, when I come into your life, we must be blessed. We must go up. We don't have to go down. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. We will not be, we will open it up to people if they want to, but they have to face our board and meet the criteria. If it meets the criteria, that's fine. And we'll ask you those questions. Yeah.
Okay. One little thing, I know some of us really loved and really do miss those church bells. Will you be turning them back on?
We have never rung bells before.
You're the no? Oh, you don't like those? Oh, my God. I know, a lot of us, we used to tell time by them.
I didn't even know the church had
Yeah,
bells.
there's bells there. They start at 7 a.m., end at 9 p.m., and you,
Won't that be disturbing you?
oh, no. Don't listen to them. They're the newbies in the, well, not newbies, but they're.
Excuse me, you're making it very difficult on our court reporter here, so everybody can't be talking at once.
Yeah. All right, let's stay focused
Yeah,
here.
but no, some of us do like them because like I said, if we're outside, you can tell time by them. On it.
Okay, that's something to consider.
It's
Like
just
I
something
said,
minor.
yeah, we've always rented. We've never run church bells before. I've never run church bells before, so I don't know how to do that, but
You're expert. Thank you.
thank you so much, Mother.
Thanks, Christine. Is there anybody else in the audience? All right, come, please step up to the podium, sign your name on the line. And state your name.
My name is Ray Simplinsky.
All right, raise your right hand, Ray. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
I'm here sort of selfish, but at the same time, we talked about the school that was torn down and then lots became available on the second half of this block. The first 12 lots, which are 6 on either side in the Stearns Park Garden, are what the school or what the church occupied half of. The northernmost were Cheney School, and that was my school. It was a great school. I considered it the best 16 years of my life. That was humor. The other thing was I did reinvest in the community. I started on the east side of Joliet, but in the early 50s, mid-50s, I ended up on Oakland Avenue. And when the lots became available, I actually bought one and built a house there. Not wanting to be like other houses, I had a porch in front and I used the alley to get in. The alley, of course, is a private alley. It's from the April 8th, 1918 plat, where Stearns Park Garden, Arthur Stearns, dedicated these alleys as private alleys for the use of everybody that was in that block. So with that, I knew where the school was. There was nothing, and if I was going to use that alley as a drive, as some had done on the south side, I would have to pay for it myself, which I did. And it was done by Tony Spinelli at Geotech, did the design. The alley was placed by Greg Kubinski, and a secondary storm was placed, and that was at my cost. So I'm a little protective of that, and the church will be able to use that alley because they are part of that block. I would just hope that we could have continued rapport to kind of keep it travelable, first of all, and maintained, because it gets sort of expensive if you're the only guy in 12 lots paying for what has to happen, especially when 2 other houses were built that destroyed it and had to be rebuilt it. So I'm a little protective of that. But for the most part, what I've heard here tonight is what the church had done for many years before this particular instance. St. Anne's, of course, had been there since '53. And although there was counseling, it was usually done a block away at the rectory, but nonetheless in that area. And I can say that the Crest Hill Lions had chili dinners in that place. We had a number of things that we did. So as far as seeing the church, I was actually breathing a sigh of relief from all those things that could have been there. And from what it sounds, it's very responsible. There are so many idiosyncrasies, which you ran into quite a few of them this evening with what's gone on with a house that was built as 4 units. And of course, in 1920, Broadway was 2 lanes, not 4. So there were things of that nature. And Crest Hill's got a lot because January 20th of 1960 is when we incorporated. I had the opportunity for 24 years to work as the city engineer with the Robert E. Hamilton Consulting Engineers, so I was pretty much in touch with the city of Crest Hill as well as 6 other municipalities until 2000, well, in private concern until 1995, and then I worked for the city of Crest Hill from 1995 to 2007 in 2 different capacities. But it's always been the heart, and it's always been something I cared about, and that's why I reinvested in this city. I think that this is a great addition. I think the bells are computerized, and I think they could be coming back, because that's when I had my paper out there. I knew when it was 1/4 after, 1/2 past, and then 1/4 to, and I knew when I was in real trouble. So that's my comments at this point, and that's just to have a working and cooperative spirit with the church so that we can keep things going and that we can live together in harmony. That's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have a sneaking suspicion that the pastor is all for that type of arrangement. Who plows that alley in the winter?
I either, well,
St. Anne's,
it's a private alley.
yeah, but St. Anne's.
So the previous church used to plow it.
Yeah.
It has no part in it, and it's just one of those things, and it extends from Broadway all the way down to basically almost Rayner Avenue, and from Elsie south to Theodore. Stearns Park Garden in many different petitions always had this caveat where this was given. Tom Koval explained it to the city council.
I'm so sorry to interject.
No,
Do you
I'm
mind-
sorry, yeah.
Do you mind
If you're going to
chatting?
talk, you need to get up here so she can,
And it's being,
all I wanted, I guess, well, you answered it. You don't need to say anymore.
I'm sorry, no, it was, the alleys, as you read these, are for the entire block use. And what happens with this is, they're almost like PUDs before there were PUDs. They dedicate these alleys for the use of the people in that block, those that abut that alley. So all others, they're on their own or their own block. And when we've gone through this, because when this became lots once again, we had to go over this. There was a section paved from Ludwig all the way down to the church lot, which the church used when they paved their lot as well. So that had happened, but it didn't extend south because that was the school. Once the school was gone, there was nothing left, and if I wanted to use that, that's what I had to do. And at times when I was working for the county, which Mr. Peterson might remember, we might go out and plow, right? We'd turn the trucks loose for a while and then come back after 12 or 14 hours and have to dig 250 feet to get to my drive because I couldn't park in the street. So I did have a nephew, which I've used, and I've used private plows to clear the path. And that's what was going on. I had used the church lot, but at one point the church was plowing and they plowed the alley closed. So I learned how to do it myself from the south to the, or from the north to the south. So that's what it's been, and we've had 3 different attorneys weigh in on this. Tom Koval, the first, he was city's attorney then. After that, Dave Ruddle, and then finally Jim Harvey. And they came up with this, and this is what extends in the entire city in Stearns Park Garden. And these things do go back to 1918, and some more recent. But nonetheless, it's up to us to take care of it. and they are private, so it's just one of those things that you accept if you're going to do something there. That's what I did.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
I'm sorry.
Thanks for the history. Anybody else? Okay, please feel free to come up, sign in. State
My
your
name
name.
is Maureen Harton.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Maureen, go ahead.
My name is Maureen Harton. I am the former general counsel for the Diocese of Joliet. Retired from that position a couple of years ago. I spearheaded the targeted restructuring of the Joliet Deanery, of which St. Anne and St. Ambrose were a part of. And now I am retired, but I'm still doing all of the real estate work for the diocese. First thing I want to say is that Bishop Ronald Hicks is 100% behind Redemption Hour Ministries. And we believe this is going to be a fantastic boon for the city of Crest Hill. It was of the utmost importance to Bishop Hicks to keep God in this community, to keep a religious presence in this community. St. Anne's is a beautiful church, as everybody in this room knows, and these folks are going to do it justice. We are just so pleased. I've been working with them since December of '24. We've been working in partnership in everything that they presented to this to the city, and I've been in touch with Mr. Ainsworth, and we'll be supporting them in front of the city council if hopefully this commission passes this along to them with your approval. Just a couple of data points that I'd like to make you aware of that you may not be aware of. The Catholic Church across the United States does what we call October mass counts every single October in every parish and every diocese in the United States. And the reason for that is because October is a month when, everybody's back from summer vacation, kids are back in school, it's before the Thanksgiving and the Christmas holidays, so it's a time when the majority of people who are going to go to church are going to church in the month of October. So the last time that St. Anne did an October count was in October of '23, because as you know, the church celebrated its last Mass last June, the last weekend of June in 2024. So the October Mass counts for October of '23, and I don't want to get into real specific numbers, although I can certainly provide that if the commission would like that. The highest number of people attending Mass in the month of October of '23 was 78 people attending the 8:30 Mass on October 15th of 2023. When you do the calculations, the average attendance for the Sunday Masses, and that's all the Masses, was 121 people, but that was, back then there were 2 Masses, so basically roughly about 60 people per Mass. And speaking with Father Anthony Naniame, who I'm sure most of you know, he's the pastor of St. Ambrose and St. Anne Parish, and as well as some parishioners that he asked me to talk to, I was told, anecdotally, but I have no reason to doubt, and this lady here would certainly be able to attest to it since you live across the street, that for every Mass, people are parked on the street, up and down Dearborn, up and down Ludwig. And a couple of people I talked to, they said it was such a pain in the neck to park in the parking lot that it was just a whole lot easier to park on the street. So street parking is not out of the ordinary by any means in this community, and the folks are used to it. This community of 70 congregants is far less than the number of people that were parishioners at St. Anne. In addition to that, there were various events hosted by St. Anne at the parish. They would have pancake breakfasts, which again, probably many of you attended. Their average attendance was 100 to 150 people. They had a rummage sale once a year. It was a 4-day event. The average attendance was 500 people. They had a bake sale every year, a 3-day event, average of 200 people attending that event over the course of 3 days. And then in terms of their hall rental, which again, that is something that St. Anne did, baptisms, funeral luncheons, things of that nature, the average attendance to those events was 60 to 100 people. So what Redemption Hour Ministries is proposing is far, far less than what was done by St. Anne's in terms of both of their masses as well as their attendance at these extra events. So I just wanted to bring those data points to your attention in case anybody had any questions. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right,
Just got one quick thing,
okay,
kind of touched on it, so.
sign in. State your name,
Jenny Moore?
raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay?
All right. Well, thank you for all this valuable information. It's very helpful for us as a direct neighbor of the church. So we're excited to see that it may reopen as a church, and that's great. When I was looking through your information, I believe on slide 3, did it say something about sheltering the homeless?
No,
Or is it, it's just serving the homeless, is that correct?
we serve, we don't serve the homeless, it's a quarterly thing that we do, and Mr. Sums here, we go out, and like I said, share toothbrushes, butt hygiene.
But it's not shelter, right?
No, we never have, we
Okay,
never
good.
shelter.
That's all I need to know.
I don't want anybody coming like, thank you, I appreciate it.
Shelter people.
Okay, last chance. Anybody want to come up to the podium? Okay, with that, I think we can close the public hearing. Can I have a motion, please, to close the public hearing?
We'll move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Carroll, second by Commissioner Slabazeski. Roll call, please.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes,
Motion carried.
public hearing closed at 8:21 PM. Okay, so let me just give you some comments and I'll ask the other commissioners. One of the things when you look at something like this, and I have a lot more understanding now of the size, but I thought I read somewhere where, you know, you were looking to grow the church. And as I look at with my own calculations, they're not exact, with 28 pews, to me, that was like 218 capacity. I think in the documents, it was talking about maybe 250 capacity, and with
It was 256 with the pews reduced, it was 224 is the new seating
224,
capacity.
okay. And, you know, with the 50 parking places, the traffic study indicated, and the lady just probably confirmed it, that there could be another 70 in the street. And so when I'm looking all through this thing, I don't know who did your parking evaluation, but I'm looking at that thinking, I hope you didn't pay a lot of money for this, because the parking evaluation says with 250 seats, that translates to approximately 63 parking spaces. And yet with 50 parking spaces, you could fit 85, and I was thinking, whoever did this is telling us on this document, if you tripled your congregation size, you only need 13 more parking spaces. Obviously, it's in error, but this is a document that we use to try to determine that stuff. I would almost say, go back to who did page 5 of that and have them correct it before it comes to the city council. Because you know, when we started talking about this, the first question that came up, wow, how many people could it be, and will there be enough parking there? It was kind of nice to hear that there's a history of parking on the street, and people during the church service hours seem to accept that. But, yeah, I mean, that was
If I
that
can
was
make
something
a
that-
clarification,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
there are two sections in the zoning ordinance that refer to seating. 11.85 talks about the one seat for every one space for every 4 seats. But then that 11-3 I referred to earlier talks about the pew width. We did note that in the staff report that the traffic consultant may have missed the dimension. So we clarified that in the staff report, and that's where the 55 spaces come
Yeah,
from.
yeah, I'm just saying, if you use this as a reference, the corrected staff report is now the data, but the reference that we were given was, I don't know, maybe there was weak batteries in the calculator or something, but I just point that out. But any questions of the pastor or anybody in the thing there? So we talk about, and I thought Pat made a pretty good statement of that, the approval based on the 6 conditions that he read off, and you're familiar with those 6 conditions. Abide by the drawings that were submitted, arrows and parking lot signage to be added to the paved, so it's designated in and out. You're looking at me like maybe you don't know. Do you know about these 6 conditions I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay. Trash enclosure constructed, he mentioned the parking lot paving by June 12, 2026. Because as I asked for a motion, it's going to be conditional on you accepting these 6 conditions. And
Yeah, we will accept it.
so, let me look here. Okay, so let me ask, can I have a motion to approve the request from Redemption Hour Ministry for approval of a special use permit and the variations to reactivate the existing subject building for a church in the R1 Single Family Resident District with the address of 1800 Dearborn Street in Crest Hill, Illinois?
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Peterson, second by Commissioner Carroll. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So the Plan Commission, in line with the staff recommendations, has approved the request from Redemption Hour Ministry for the approval of a special use permit and variations to reactivate the existing subject building for a church located at 1800 Dearborn Street. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, can we take about a 4-minute recess? The court reporter, I think, has to,
Yes, okay.
and then I've got to set up the
Okay,
podium.
so, thank you. We have one case left, and I know you're not going to be interested in it.
Mr. Chairman, do you
So,
want?
thank you for coming,
Mr. Chairman.
everybody.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
are they coming back on the 23rd to the work session?
Oh, I'm sorry. Pastor, I got so excited for you that let me just say that our recommendation is going to the city council, but the Plan Commission can only recommend. The city council is the one that has the ultimate say, and your case will be heard on June 23rd, which is a work session. I strongly encourage you to come back with your presentation, which was excellent.
Can we have quiet, please?
Talk to the city council.
She's not able
Okay,
to.
all right.
I strongly encourage you to come back, and then what did you say?
To come back on the 23rd of June and bring the PowerPoint presentation to address city council. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, we're back on.
Okay, let's come back to order. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, no, I'm.
You're
not
done.
taking- Yeah, I was only here for that one, so.
Okay,
I'm
all
not
right.
making a
Sorry, we goofed you up. I goofed you up there for a while. Okay, the third case for a public hearing is consideration of case number TXT-25-1-6-1 regarding text amendments to the Crest Hill zoning ordinance. The applicant is the City of Crest Hill Community Development Department, and the proposed updated text amendments to the Crest Hill zoning ordinance would greatly aid in the administration, interpretation, and enforcement of the city's zoning ordinance for the following four categories: motorized vehicle storage and salvage-related activities, contractor and landscaping-based businesses, beauty and personal service-related businesses, and firearm-related businesses. And Samantha, is the paperwork in order?
Yes, all necessary paperwork is in order.
Okay, thank you. So with that, can I have a motion to open the public hearing for case TXT-25-1-6-1?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Carroll, second by Commissioner Slabazeski. Roll call, please.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Public hearing opened at 8:35. So once again, our Community and Economic Development Director, Pat Ainsworth.
Thank you, Plan Commission Chair Thomas. Good evening, Plan Commission. Interesting being on this side of the podium. Just a quick FYI. So we're going to go through these text amendments. We're going to summarize. Everything is in the staff reports. The staff reports are on the table in the back. We also have some reference maps that they're also in the back in case there was anyone in the audience that wanted to see them. And also Ron Metzner and Mike Stiff may chime in just in case, because all three of us actually weighed in equally on this text amendment. So here we go. All right, so as part of me being here for a few months and Ron being here for about 2 years, we've noticed some need for updates of the zoning ordinance. A zoning ordinance is a fluid document. As I always bring up an example of a previous community I used to intern at, the word haberdashery was in the land use term. Not many people know what that is. It's a hat store. So with time, with evolution, with new land uses comes the need to update the zoning ordinance. And that's sort of the thing that we're doing tonight. So we're going to show you some items that we are requesting to take the city council here on the 23rd of June for a workshop session. But what we want to make sure is when a land use is introduced, it's clearly defined, it's clearly labeled with parking, and there may be some accessory regulations, land use regulations, like increased setbacks, increased buffering, increased opportunities to store things inside. We're going to go through a little bit of those tonight, but again, I will make this short and sweet. So as you mentioned before, thank you, Planning Commission Chair, there's 4 themes. The very first one is really about vehicle storage and salvage. We have quite a bit of difference between what's defined, what's in the land use chart, and then what's the accessory land uses. So with the help of City Attorney Mike Stiff and our consultant Ron Metzner, we looked at the very beginning thing is our zoning code really doesn't talk about inoperable vehicles versus operable vehicles. We have land use terms already that talk about boat storage, RV storage, bus storage, but then also junkyards. That wasn't clearly defined. So you'll see in the text amendment that junkyards was actually already prohibited. We clarified that in the definition because there was this auto salvage junkyard and then this wrecking salvage junkyard land use term. So in the staff report, we've highlighted those, and I'll go over the land use table here shortly. But we also updated some of the general land use standards. That's height limitations, screening, solid wall fence, parking requirements, etc. So this is what you would see if you would look at table 4 of the land use code if it's hypothetically adopted. The strike through, so the line through the letter, is showing what we are omitting. So again, that salvage material yard, including auto salvage yards, we are striking that because it was not very well defined. but we're just renaming part of it to motor vehicle salvage and/or wrecking facility. So we are making that a special use in this text amendment in the M1 and 2. There's some use standards at section 8.2-26, that's an existing use. And so if anyone ever applied for auto wrecking or motor vehicle salvage, they'd come before the Plan Commission, they come before the City Council, and you're gonna see that theme here a lot. Any of these sort of sensitive uses or uses that may have accessory aspects to them or secondary aspects to them, we wanna make sure that's fully vetted through the plan, the CD department, the Plan Commission, and then the City Council itself. One other thing that you'll see here is storage garage. So we've defined this as, already is defined as personal items in a garage that's stored. We do have some M1, M2 properties that have personal storage inside. They have a business license, but we have now added it as a permitted use in the M1 and 2. However, because these are manufacturing districts, these are employment districts, we are not, desire is to have every single property zoned M1, M2 have a storage garage. So we put a limitation on them. The maximum cap is 2,000 square feet. If it's a multi-tenant building, that cap still is at 2,000 square feet. This does mean sometimes there are property owners who actually have their RV stored in unit 1 and they own 3 or 4 units. They don't rent that one out. That's just for their own personal use. We're now defining that and kind of rectifying that situation. And another thing, and who knows, maybe the church pews for the church would go into a future architectural salvage facility. This is something where if a building's getting torn down or you're demoing your bathroom, your kitchen, you're saving something, we don't really have a land use for where could that be taken to either kind of like a Habitat for Humanity's restore. So we put that as a special use M1 and 2, and to help make sure, because M1 is surrounded by a lot of residential, we're saying in 8.2-32 that all operations be inside and no donations occur after non-working hours. So again, special use, you would all see it if someone would come before you, and it would have to all be indoors. Any questions on the theme 1, vehicle storage, and accessory storage?
Yeah, let me ask you a question. As I drive around our border cities, one thing I'm noticing is the outdoor storage of RVs in the wintertime. If they have a vacant lot, they just leave them there for 6 months.
In Crest Hill or your surrounding communities?
No, in the surrounding communities, but if you're talking about bus, tractor, boat storage yard, I would think that would be a prime area for an RV as well, right?
So those are permitted as we speak. We are suggesting to change that to special use because we want to ensure that there's adequate screening, buffering, lighting, security, circulation, and those sort of things. So that is one thing that we're making a little bit more. So if anyone new comes in, it's not a permitted use. We are suggesting to make that a special use and have that additional vetting process. And that's the thing too, every city has a different zoning ordinance. This may look similar to Plainfield, Romeoville, Bolingbrook, et cetera, but ours is unique to our community character.
I think what the chairman might be suggesting is, do you want to add RVs?
Yeah, I would add the
Bus,
word
truck,
RV
tractor,
there. If you
boat.
have boats, I would say there's more RVs being stored outside in the winter that, as I drive around, it's becoming so popular.
We could add that if you want. We do have a height restriction in the storage though.
Do we have a specific section of the code that references RV storage now? I
We
can't
have,
remember.
in the self-storage area, there can be an unopened to the sky area for such storage, and then we do see an RV stored inside a high overhead door facility, but we can certainly add that as part of this bus, truck, tractor. Ron, any suggestions on that one? We can add it?
No questions. I think that's a good suggestion.
Okay, yeah, we can, so per a modification at the very end, it would be the definition section, we would modify that, as well as the use table. We can certainly touch on that. Okay, we're going to section 2, and if maybe this is a great idea to go section by section, ask Q&A, since there's kind of a lot to go over. The second one is contract and landscaping-based businesses. We have quite a few of them in town. We don't have a definition for them. So we want to make sure that it's clearly defined, clearly regulated, and that there's parking requirements that are fair. So in the staff report, you'll see a very comprehensive contractor-based business in communities that I've worked in, Ron's worked in. We've had definitions that we've looked at in other communities for inspiration. We've created our own. But you'll see in the section, table 4 portion of the item here, we have quite a few contractors type buildings that could facilitate contractor-based businesses in the M1, M2. We're suggesting to make that permitted. We do have 2 land use standards, section 8.2-18 and 8.2-33, that would further regulate these uses. That would be buffering, screening, outside storage, making sure that the materials are not stored above a certain height, especially again, M1 is nearby residential. We will be very cognizant of these things. We are suggesting B3. There are some what we would call industrial-like facilities on certain specific streets in the B3 zoning districts that would have to be a special use. So Broadway, Theodore, Rockwood Run, if any of those have frontage, they'd have to come before the Plan Commission, come before the City Council, but only in certain streets in the B3. Not Larkin, not Weber, not Theodore. Well, Theodore is, I think, a small section, but not our main commercial shopping centers. As a matter of fact, the B3 zoning district is general service-based business, so we do have some of these sort of quasi-like industrial areas. When a town is built and then the annex, or an area is built and then the annex, most likely sometimes these buildings that were built for industrial use are annexed in and then possibly rezoned to more of a commercial use, whereas sometimes they're more of a industrial type facility. So that's why you see special use for the B3 contractor-based business. And the second thing that you see at the bottom of that chart, landscape company, not defined, nursery, not defined. We simply just got rid of the word landscape company to anyone that's a landscape-based contracting business, now defined, now regulated, and that just helps further clarify. Any questions on section 2, theme 2? All right, we're going along. The next one is beauty and personal related uses. So beauty parlor, not defined. Alternative beauty and personal services, not defined. What is alternative beauty? The definition, I believe, is on page 5 of the staff report, if I remember. Yep, so page 5, so we have everything from esthetician service, acupuncturist, laser therapy, anything that's sort of not in the realm of massage therapy and not in the realm of a beauty parlor. We do get quite a bit of phone calls about very unique businesses. A lot of them are regulated by the state of Illinois. We had 2 estheticians that had come before the Community Development Department in my tenure and Ron's tenure, showing us, hey, we are licensed, we have a state regulation that we have to follow, but it's not in our zoning code. So again, this is just that modernizing our zoning code to kind of match what's already defined. And you can even see in our definition, we talk about, hey, if you're regulated by the state of Illinois, that's something that we definitely want to look at. We are making alternative beauty a special use in the B1, 2, and 3, because if we get a very new, out-of-the-box land use that's not really defined, we can take that special use process and help understand the equipment used, the training involved, the professionals that are there. This really does help make sure that we're advancing the health, safety, and welfare of both the customers, their next door neighbors, et cetera. So we don't want to be too or obstructive with these uses, but we are adapting that, but we have to go through a special use process as the staff's recommendation. We do have a parking regulation that we've put in there, but because all these are indoors, there's no accessory use standard, hence why that cell is vacant. Any questions on theme 3? All right, last one. So firearm regulations, firearm-related businesses is not defined in the zoning ordinance. This is a challenge when anyone in outsider community, insider community wants to do something of that nature. We do have a constitutional amendment for firearms, and we do have some ATF regulations. Local amendments help guide where those locations can go. Many other communities around us already regulate it. The city of Crest Hill does not. We crafted this language very carefully with the city attorney's office. We looked at neighboring communities, and that research that we showed was on attachment B, which was the last page of the staff report. But I also actually have some maps that I would like to show you guys. But on top of that, so we broke this down to 3 different land use categories. Firearm retail, special use in B2, B3, M1, and 2, off-premise federal firearm license transfer business, which essentially is the business of transferring the ownership of a firearm through a ATF-guided process in an office setting. We suggest that as a special use in the M1 and 2, fire manufacturer, special use in the M1 and 2. But I did ask our engineering consultant to show because sometimes there are sensitivity with this element that many of the communities around us have what they call a land use buffer. So if there's a sensitive use, a daycare, a church, a school, a park, what have you, we sort of adopted that same mentality. And because we're a smaller community than our neighboring towns of Romeo, Joliet, et cetera, we use a 150-foot buffer. So whereas if a available space is across the street from a church, and according to our definition, it's within 150 feet, that area is exempt for such a use. So it would be preemptive to say, hey, I want to apply for a special use, I found this spot. We, staff, would measure from the lot line to any sensitive uses, and that does change over time, but this is, the maps you will see in these exhibits here will fluctuate over time, but this is a shot in time now. These are reference maps. Staff would go through an exercise to ensure that it is within 150 feet or farther away, I should say, of these uses. So for this example, the firearm retail business, you can see, again, it's special use in the B2, B3, M1, and 2. So any of the blue and the red is generally where a business can open through a special use process. So on top of the buffers, on top of where they can go, they'd have to go through the staff, through a special use application review, plan commission, and city council to obtain an ordinance granting a special use for the firearm retail business. And this is the map for the FFL. Again, that's the federal firearm license. So this is strictly mostly an office use, but there are, areas for storage, areas for office supplies, etc. We made that a special use. We kept the 150-foot buffer. So anything in blue is a lot that does accommodate for such uses. King Farm Road does have quite a few units that are 800 square feet, 1,000 square feet or less. So that there is one area of town, for example, that could, through a special use process, accommodate that kind of use. And then finally, this is the firearm manufacturing. So again, especially using the M1 and 2 with the 150-foot buffers. Anything that's in blue is an area that could accommodate this, but also just to provide some context, Stateville Correction Facility, it's a massive M1 zone property. The Forest Preserve, or the Prairie Bluff Preserve is also an open area. It just so happens to be M1. That's why it looks like a big swath of land. I don't suspect the Will County Forest Preserve would grant a special use for that manufacturing use. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions and go through any specifics you guys have. Sorry, it is hot.
I actually read this twice because I was just feeling like I needed to punish myself or something. But, this is incredible. You guys are to be commended for cleaning this up. And I was thinking about it. So, you have kind of selfish reasons for doing it so you can do your job better. But I'm thinking about the next generations to come are not going to have to put up with what you've had to put up with for 6 months to 2 years.
And this
wow.
is just the first wave. There's going to be a couple more waves
Yeah.
coming.
Oh, I can only imagine. Look at that ordinance, how thick that thing is. But to make this simplified, you guys are to be commended.
Took a lot of cups of coffee and a lot of help from Ron and Mike, so thanks.
A little extra in your stocking this year.
Very detailed.
Great job.
And I'm happy to set aside and just sit here in case there's any questions from the public. So I'll give it on over.
Can I indulge and just offer a couple comments from my perspective? It is selfish for people that have to administer the ordinance to make these kind of revisions, but I think one of the overarching benefits of it from a staff perspective is that we're the ones that are interacting with people that are interested in opening businesses or operating businesses. Our operating businesses are trying to sell businesses, and when it's not clear, it's hard for us to guide them and help them comply with the city's regulations. And that's really not fair to the private sector. So by clarifying this, we can give them specific, direct answers, and they know the path that they have to follow to either buy a business, to open a business, or to make a decision, this isn't the community for us. but it's clear, it becomes much more clear, and they
Yeah.
can make informed decisions, and we can move them through whatever processes might apply more effectively. So, the other thing I would say is that Patrick talked about repeatedly about definitions, and, you know, at its heart, it's really important from a land use regulation standpoint to have definitions, so you know if something is allowed or not. By default, the way most municipal zoning ordinances are structured, including Crest Hills, is that if a use is not specifically allowed by a definition and then in the table of uses, then it's automatically prohibited. And that's one of the things that we don't have right now is a clear definition and listing for contractor shop, albeit that's a normal type use in our community. So, you know, it's kind of in the gray area. How do we allow those? And the city's found ways to allow them, and then different people in the organization has interpreted the ordinance differently to say, yeah, you can have a business here or there, a contractor business. What we're saying is, let's make it black and white. What is a contractor business, and where are we gonna allow it, so it's clear and everybody gets treated the same going forward. So I think this is just some perspective on why it's valuable for not just an administrative standpoint, but for the people that we serve.
It's outstanding, and I mean, honestly, as plan commissioners, it's gonna help us understand why we make the decisions we do as well. It's gonna simplify some areas that we weren't quite sure about,
Right.
so, no, this is incredible.
And I would chime in that, as Patrick said, this is a fluid document because everything changes. I mean, we can try as hard as we can to dot every I, cross every T, and get this to cover every conceivable business use known to man. And then next week, someone will come in and say, hey, I've got a business, and it's something that we've never heard of. Patrick mentioned this aesthetician. You know, these people come in and it's an alternative therapy where it's not quite massage therapy, but you're still putting hands on somebody. Well, how do we define that? How do we make it so we know whether it's permitted, whether it's not permitted? So again, that's why I said this is only the first wave, because this is an evolving document. We'll get a couple waves of clarification down, and then someone will throw a new wrench at us, and we'll be back here saying, okay, we need to amend it again. But we just, that's the nature of the beast. We're always fine tuning this, so.
No, great job. Any of the commissioners have any comments or questions?
The only comment I have is you guys go through this business of putting these sheets together, your project summaries, et cetera, and it makes my job a lot easier, because when I first get on the commission here, we had to kind of guess as to what ordinance we had to go to in some cases, and even definitions. And you've provided this all for us. I regard it as an educational tool, and also from a selfish point of view, it makes my life a whole lot easier to be able to. You've already done my work for me.
To be honest, we spend between 30 and 50 hours on each case. I'm not, and the majority of it's the staff report, so thanks for reading the staff report.
Well, in my case,
obviously-
it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, staff reports are invaluable.
So, yeah, any other questions? Happy to take them. Anyone I can step aside?
No? Is there anybody in the audience that wants to ask a question, make a comment? That being the case, then, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Carroll, second by Commissioner Peterson. Roll call, please.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Public hearing closed at 8:57. Okay, any more comments about this, or can we go right to, can I have a motion to approve the request from the City of Crest Hill Community Development Department to implement the proposed updated text amendments to the appropriate sections of the Crest Hill zoning ordinance for the 4 categories presented and discussed?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Carroll, second by Commissioner Butler. Roll call, please.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, what do we got left? And of course, you guys know the drill. This is gonna be forwarded to the city council. I think it's gonna come up for review on the June 23rd, along with the other cases, so, again, incredible job. I knew that took a lot of time. Okay, other business, it's that time of year again. Actually, we're 1 month late, but we didn't have a meeting last month. To re-elect the officers of the Plan Commission. As the existing chairman, I have every desire, if you would allow me, to continue as the chairman.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Carroll, second by Commissioner Slabozowski. Thank you for that. I very much enjoy working with all of you commissioners. And are you wanting to continue your legacy of, so I make a motion that we elect Ken Carroll as vice chairman. Do I have a
Second.
second? Did you second it?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Slabozewski. I guess we're not, we'll do one roll call at the end.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then I would like to make a motion to appoint Commissioner Slabozewski as the new secretary of the Plan Commission. May I have a second? Second by Commissioner Butler. Okay, now can we have a roll call for,
Who was, I missed the first and second for vice. Or,
so the officers will be Bill Thomas as chairman, Ken Carroll as vice chairman.
the vice chair, who was the first motion and the second? That's what I missed.
Oh, I'm sorry. For Bill Thomas, Commissioner Carroll was the motion. Commissioner Slabozewski was the second. And for vice chairman, it was Bill Thomas as the motion, second by Commissioner Slabozewski.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for everybody that's agreeing to serve on this. Is there any other business we need to bring up? This was, I would say, a very difficult preparation, Plan Commission, because of the detail of the staff reports, and I appreciate everybody obviously commented that we have all read it, and that takes a lot of effort, particularly when we got it on Monday. We're gonna make Pat swear that we'll never get them on Monday again. We'll try to get them on Friday, so we have a weekend to
That weekend
review 'em.
really helps.
I usually do that over the weekend, and, wow, that was a lot of reading and preparation, but not as much as these guys did in putting it together, but.
No, thank you for the accommodation with getting back from the conference, catching up, and Ron helping out. I truly appreciate that. Our goal is to get you the week preparation and as far in advance notes as possible.
I'm only half kidding, but we appreciated the extra time when we have it. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Wait,
Oh, sorry.
didn't we need a roll call for the first and seconds you did for the reorganization?
Well, I was saying we did a roll call for all three, so I will,
You just did the first and second motions,
yeah.
right?
Can we do one roll call for all three positions, or, yeah, just, so it was all the same, 5-0,
Okay.
and it wasn't Hawaii.
That-
So
that was
I'm
the-
getting goofy because we've been here too long.
Whoever made the motion was for all three, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
so we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that
Commissioner Peterson,
I'll second that.
second for Commissioner Slabozewski. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Motion
Meeting adjourned at 9:02, and thank you, everyone, so much for spending this much time.